Welcome to the Universe is Talking podcast, season 2. I am your host, King.
And I'm your host, Aja.
And before we begin this episode for season 2, I want to start off by telling our listeners that I'm going to be on my best behavior this season. I'm not going to be as wild as I was in season 1. I'm going to be a lot more contained.
Lies.
No, I'm a new person now.
Yeah, and that's what everyone should be concerned about.
Yep, I'm brand new. I'm better than ever. And I'm not going to be the same way that I was in season 1. I promise you. I promise you that.
Well, I'm going to be on my best behavior, and I mean that. I just want to say, first of all, that it feels amazing to be back for a second season. Our listeners rock hard with us in the first season, gave some great feedback, gave us some great energy, let us know that we were on the right track with our topics. And I hope to see more of that, more participation and growth. But I just think it's amazing that we're back for a second season because, you and I actually made it long enough to get here. We've broken up at least 10 times over our break. We're barely getting.
Today.
Yeah, well, I think it was yesterday we broke up, and this morning, we're really not back together, but we're still pulling through for the sake of our listeners. So, I just for the listeners to understand that I probably won't be engaging and participating much in this discussion because this is a topic that is definitely king-centered. So I may just have, a few things to say here and there, but it's certainly from a male perspective that I never try to take the perspective of men and act like I know it. So we'll see. We'll see how I can engage with you on this topic. So maybe you just want to hit them with it.
Well, as always, I do want your full participation.
I bet.
And I'm going to introduce the topic in a second, but this is not a topic that I just created out of nowhere. Women have asked a lot of times, what does it feel like, or whatever the case might be. So the topic for episode 1 is going to be sex rankings. And this topic is centered around what thoughts does a man have when he's inside of a woman? What does it feel like? That's what they ask. What do I feel like? So I'm going to go ahead and answer that question on the podcast today, and I'm going to tell you the rankings. So the way that these rankings go, we're going to go one step at a time. There's A, B, C, D, and F. I'm going to give you the description of each, and now you should know where you fall in these rankings.
According to King.
This is not according to King. This is based on a lot of research that has been done over the course of time.
Okay.
I just so happen to have read the research that was submitted.
I see.
Okay?
Got you.
All right, so the reason that we're even having this conversation is because every woman on this planet thinks that they have amazing vagina, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. So I want to go ahead and break this down very thoroughly. Now, I need our listeners to know, outside of this podcast, I use the other word. I don't say, when I'm just having our conversation with you and I use the other word, but for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to say vagina, I'm going to say fruit, but as long as you know what I'm really saying, we're good.
Pussy.
All right, you say it. I'm not saying it because I'm on my best behavior. So we have to start off with my absolute favorite, and that's A, fruit. This fruit is ranked A and is magical. As a man, we have no control of the show whatsoever. We are at her mercy once this show begins. All day we've been thinking that this was going to be a 12-round fight. We're in shape. We have enough stamina to go a full 12 rounds. But if we come in there fucking around, this fight will be over in 60 seconds tops. This one right here, this is the one that we do push-ups for. We go do squats to keep our legs nice and strong for this one right here. And what makes this a fruit is that it's wet upon entry. It floods during different points of the ride. And the best thing about it is that it has endurance. Yes, it has endurance.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that our male listeners can attest to this. If you get inside of that A fruit and you're not fully ready, you might have to come back out and take a little walk around the room for a second and get your mind right.
Mm-hmm.
Because she almost ended you as soon as you entered.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about A fruit, from start to finish, this will be an amazing ride.
Right.
I'm going to keep referencing A fruit at different points of this episode, so I'm gonna pretty much cut it short on A fruit right here. But
can I add something?
Go ahead. Wait. Just let me do this last finishing line for it, and then you got it from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, so in conclusion, I just want to say there has been times when I was with an A and I looked up to the skies and I silently thanked her mother and her father for creating this beautiful piece of fruit. That's all I wanted to say. That's it.
Okay. In regards to A fruit, I think A is the reason that a lot of people, especially women who are looking upon relationships and wondering how are these two people in love, staying in love, how did she get a husband? A lot of times what's behind that is the A fruit. Because A is the fruit that you marry. I was speaking to someone, and I won't give too many clues away about who this person was, but they were thinking about settling down with someone who probably has on the grading sheet like a D, C, D, E, but he wasn't happy at all with whatever she had. And he was talking about settling down with her because she had so many other good qualities, reliable, resourceful, not bad to look at. And my response to that was, but can you live with that for the rest of your life? Because when it all comes down to it, not that sex is everything, and we've talked in the first season about so many more important qualities that women have, being financially stable, or at least having an acumen where she can help, move the family forward. Just being the kind of woman that you wouldn't mind spending time with. All those things are great, but when it really comes down to it, this is someone that you're going to be having a romantic and sexual relationship with, and you really need to be satisfied sexually with this person if you're going to be happy, because that fruit is what bears more fruit. It bears happiness and contentment in who you are, and it can also solve riddles and problems and calm you from an atrocious day. It really can make the world so much better. And on the equivalent side, so can a man's dick. He has the capability of healing a woman, and I don't mean just his physical self, but what it does to us. So while we're healing you, you guys are healing us, and I can't imagine being married to someone for any length of time where they have no capability of changing my world for the positive when I need them to. And that relationship that you have in the bed, and we're just going to use the bed as a commonplace because it can happen anywhere, but the bed is that place where you talk to each other without words, and you fix things that need to be fixed. And not fruit is really the answer to that. So my thing for him was, are you really going to spend your whole life with someone that when you lay down with them, it's dry, or it's not doing what you need it to do, no matter how many things you do to try to help it? And I'm hoping that his answer was no. I mean, not because I'm wishing any ill will towards her, but I think you have to find your match in this world. And maybe her fruit is fruit to somebody, but it wasn't fruit to him, And I think that we are designed for people, but, she wasn't designed for him. And this also goes back to, I think, one of our first podcasts where we talk about settling. Sometimes we're like, well, they got all of this, so we're just going to ignore this other stuff. No. You need to pay attention to it all. And why must we settle for half of what we deserve just so that we can have something? No, there is a person that has all those attributes, and that is a better situation for your livelihood than settling, because you're only going to resent that person for not having the fruit and not having whatever else that you need to be happy. So I just wanted to say that a lot of times when we're looking at relationships and we can't figure out how people got where they are, it's a fruit. And I'm not saying that all the single women have no A fruit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that a lot of these married women that you're trying to figure out how they get it, because from the outside looking in, you're like, look, she really don't look like much. She got A fruit. She's healing him in some ways that you just don't understand. So that's all I wanted to say about A.
I agree with every single point that you made. And with that being said, we are now going to go to B.
Okay.
So although I'm talking about B, the same exact characteristics apply to A. The only thing that separates B and A is that B doesn't have that finishing move. But outside of that, B is very good, and B is arguably more fun than A. So with A, you can't really get into all of your moves because you know that you're not going to survive. But with B, you can go into your entire arsenal of moves. You could do the 360 windmill that you've been practicing in your head with B. And if I had to describe B, I would say that B fruit is nice and sweet. B makes you have conversations with yourself. And the same thing can be applied to A, but both B and A makes you have some serious conversations with yourself. B have you thinking about making a full commitment when you're inside of it, and maybe for 3 hours after, until you start slapping yourself around a few times to remember that she's in the game just like I'm in the game. Yeah, she might like you. She may even be in a relationship with you, but she's also in a relationship with 1 or 2 other people. But for the time that the 2 of you are physically in each other's presence, and you might even just be communicating outside of being in each other's presence, it's a great time. It's a whole lot of fun to be had, and you are completely fulfilled with B.
All right. I got something to say about B and A. Something you said. All right. So you said that B is arguably more fun than A. But what I would say is that that's really dependent on how much time you spend with A and B. Now, you're a man who, you've said on this show, I'm not giving anything away, that you have multiple experiences. And with that said, that might mean that you're not spending a lot of time with an A. You know what I mean? Like all your time with an A. You might be spending time with A, B, C, and may even have some D's thrown in there every once in a while, because you're not aware that they're D's until they come into the picture. But like an A is the funnest, obviously, but the trick to an A is that you have to spend time with A. You got to work with A, because yeah, she may like surprise you often and take your capabilities for endurance away from you. But if you're with her long enough, you know how to play that game with her. And A knows she can finish you. She already knows. And likely is like, go ahead and let that one go. Go ahead and let go because she's been around for a while. She knows the power of her pussy. She knows what it's like. She's been living with it. And every sexual experience she's had has been the same in that regard, that every time a man has slid inside of her, he has lost his mind and he's getting ready to let go. And she has figured out for herself the best way for her to get the most out of this experience, because trust me, living with an A, it's nice having an A and you're like, yeah, I got an A. I mean, I can make these dudes, fall to their knees each and every time. That's nice, but we want to come, okay? We want to come. We want not only to come, but we want a full sexual experience that's not just with you all falling to your knees and not being able to get back up. So we've learned some techniques to help you all cope with our A's. But if you don't spend enough time with us, you'll never learn those techniques. So, yeah, go ahead and go to B if that makes you feel better, because, you have more control over yourself with a B. So that's fun for you. But with the A, if you marry an A, you get a perfect pussy every single day. Every single day, you have the very best fruit. The very best fruit. And like I said, it's all about staying with the A, treating the A good. That A is going to show you how you work with her. She's going to help you make it. She wants you to achieve. She wants you to please her, and she's going to show you how to do that. And trust me, there's a reward in the A. Now, nothing against these. I mean, there really is nothing that a woman, outside of all the things that we've talked about in season 1, making sure that you have your very best health, making sure that you're staying hydrated, making sure that you are eating the good foods for you, all those things, like barring all of that and any type of health condition, your pussy is your pussy. This is what you got. You got an A, you got a B. There's nothing you could do about that. If B is you, and you should be happy with your B, and you make the most of it. But I'm just saying, for a man to say that they have more fun with B because they don't know how to handle A is really like, it's a bias. That's just because you're not doing what you need to do to figure out how to be with A. That's really all I got to say about that.
That's fine, and I'm sure that we will touch back on that A-B conversation in a totally different way in the episodes to come.
Okay.
All right. So now that we've got the fun out of the way, it's time to talk about C now. And I want to begin this by saying that, truthfully, C, D, F is all the same shit. But we're going to take our time and go one letter at a time, and we'll talk about C fruit now.
Okay.
So it's all downhill from here, everybody, but we got to do it, so we'll do it. So C, it might look good. She might have everything that you like when it comes to her appearance. She might even have good conversation, but her fruit is tricky at best. With C, you don't have to worry about coming too fast because it's just not that type of fruit. And to be honest, you might be doing yourself a favor if you come fast, because the longer this goes, the closer you get to the clock running out, and you're not going to get to come at all. C fruit is what I would say is alarm clock fruit. It's not that it's bad, but it's not good either. From the 0 to 10 minute mark, it's okay. It'll do, I guess. But once you go past that 10-minute mark, you're in trouble. The little bit of moisture that was there has now disappeared. Now you're just trapped. And you got to make a decision. Do I allow this to continue on and listen to her have the time of her life while I'm bored out of my mind and further away from coming than I was before we started? Do I try to think of the porn that I was watching 2 nights ago and make myself come? Or do I just end this shit and announce that the show is over? When you get done with C, you might start asking yourself, how much longer am I going to continue to do this? This isn't what I was promised when I signed up for the sex game. Somebody owed me a refund for my time. That's all I got to say about this one. I'm getting sad as I talk about it.
I don't even know why I break down C, D, E, F, because to me it's really sad. Like, your designation and description of C is a very sad experience. But what I will say is this. I think that it's possible, and I'm saying this because as a woman, I'm not a man, I'm a woman, and I've spoken to a lot of women. We've talked on this show that I counsel women on their sexuality and sexual experiences. So I've spoken to a number of women who probably are in the C category based on what you're saying. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. Some are just, this is who they are, no question. But there are other reasons to be a C that have to do with hormonal imbalances that are caused by maybe birth control, possibly, and then also things like a hysterectomy, to some sort of surgery. Menopause can cause a woman to go and be like a C. So from being a woman to women, I can say that if this is you, we're not making fun of you. He's I think that King is making humor of something that could be serious for you, but like from a sexual experience would probably not be the greatest for a man. But like for women, if this is your experience, if you're finding that you're not able to keep lubrication going during the course of a sexual experience, just know that it's probably not as satisfying for you as it could be, even if you're getting off because he's making really great moves and stuff. The reality is the wetter you are, the more pleasurable it's going to be for you. So if you find yourself in the situation where you're drying up and you're not even really into, like long into a session, then it may be time to talk to your doctor, not just listen to what I'm telling you about drinking water and eating the right food, but you may want to speak to your doctor. And then also use lubrication. There is no shame in not having naturally what you need to have a good sexual experience. Of course, it is a blessing to have been born with the type of vagina that gives you that, the glands and everything. Your body just reacts and responds in that way. But the reality is not everybody is the same. We are not the same. So if drying out is a problem for you, then rather than have uncomfortable sex for you or for your partner, go ahead and use something over the counter that will help you. I have advised on water-based lubes because they not only do they last longer, but they also feel more like what we would feel like without any type of additives. But, certainly there are other types of lubes that are good for other situations. Like people say things that are like oil-based are good for certain types of sex. So like anal sex and things like that may help you not tear. This isn't me being a medical professional and giving this advice. This is just me talking to lots of women. So I would say speak to your doctor and find out a way for you to have the best pleasurable experience that you can have, not only for the man that you're with, but I'm more concerned with women having the best pleasurable experience that they can have. So if you're C, D, E, F, whatever, you're probably not enjoying it as much as you could. So let's see how we can help you with that. And if you ever need to reach out to me, you can certainly reach out to me separately from King. to have a discussion about the grade of your pussy and ways in which to improve your sexual experiences. That's all I gotta say about that.
To follow up, I just want to say that these grades are in no way talking about a woman who may have any type of health issues or anything like that. We're not talking about you. We wouldn't even grade you, to be honest. We accept you exactly as you are. These grades are for women that think that their fruit is an A, and it's clearly not. And there's no explanation behind it.
Mm-hmm. But I think that a woman has a hard time knowing things about herself without the input of their sexual partner. I think a lot of women get information about themselves from the men that they're with. And the thing that they aren't always cognizant of or caring about is the fact that a lot of men want something. So they will tell you what they need to tell you to get the thing they want. Lots of women, and we're all beautiful in our own ways. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But a lot of women will do certain things or, highlight certain qualities about themselves because some man has said that is a beautiful quality that you have, or you look good in that, or you should continue to wear this makeup, and you should continue to wear your hair this way, you should continue to wear dresses this way, when in reality that may not be the very best quality that they have, or it may not highlight the very best qualities about themselves, but a man has said so that's what they believe. They continue to do it because 10 men have told them this, so it must be true. Well, those 10 men want to fuck you. They just want to fuck you. So a man will tell a woman whatever she wants to hear in order to get what he needs, what he wants from her. And even the C pussy is pussy. All right, let's just be honest. C is still pussy. So a man may have even been inside of you and not had a good experience, but he's studying you and he's trying to make it better. So he will pump you up and make you believe that C is an A or a B or whatever, because what he wants is the very best from it. And he thinks that if I make her feel good, I'm going to get something better in this experience in exchange. So a lot of women don't know the truth about themselves because men are constantly lying about it because they want more. They know that saying to a woman, yeah, your pussy is bad, is not going to get them more pussy, and it's not going to get them better pussy either. So I think that a lot of times the reason why C's, D's, E's, F's, whatever, or just basically a woman who doesn't have a good, isn't given a good sexual experience, she doesn't know this about herself, is because she's being lied to. She's basing it on what men are telling her, and not necessarily what she feels about herself. I think that like an A knows she's an A not just because a man is falling to his knees, but because she herself, she's having a sexual experience that's like out of the world for herself. Okay? Like she herself knows the power that she is holding. She's so slick on her own. Okay? She doesn't need any help to get where she needs to get. She knows how to please herself. She knows how to have orgasms with or without him. She's slick on them sheets whenever. All he got to do is say something. She knows. I mean, because when you're an A, you're slick to yourself. Even when he's inside, you guys are feeling it, but we feel it too. We know how wet we are. We know the power in which we have. So if you're not feeling that experience, then you should know that, I don't know what he's telling you, but you really aren't that wet. So I think that, the reason why your C's have this high opinion of themselves is because the men before you in your grading system have lied.
Well, if that was C, we are now at the point of no return because now it's time to talk about D, which is really F, and F is really D. But we are here now, so we got to do it.
Okay.
So we are at the end of the road now, everybody. There's nowhere to go from here. D is just depressing. D makes you want to cry. D makes you feel like I want my ball back. I just want to go home. If she's at your home, you want her to go back to her place. And if you're at her place, you want to go back home to your place. And if you are at your place, you still just want to go back home still. How did we get here? That's what I want to know. How did we get here? Like, what happened? How are you not wet at all? And this is not just a one-time thing. This is every single time that we've been together, there's just nothing at all happening. Now, for the record, A and B don't have bad days. A and B are always A and B, no matter when you catch them, what time of day it is, no matter what's happening, A and B are always A and B. If you are a D, a F, or a C, this is just you. You lied to me. You looked me in my eyes. You said nothing at all, but you smiled. And in my head, I thought that smile meant that you had some at least decent fruit. But this right here, this isn't even a preseason game. This isn't a scrimmage. This isn't practice. If you know what, if I'm thinking about D fruit, this is the coach yelling at you, telling you to go run 20 100-yard sprints, full speed, because you didn't practice hard. And to be honest with you, I'd rather go run these sprints than spend this time with you. This is the worst shit I have ever had in my life. I'd rather watch porn than be inside of you. I promise you I would have so much more fun watching porn instead of doing whatever this is. So let me explain D and F a little bit more.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like nothing. Nothing at all. I'm not just talking about physically feel nothing. I don't even feel anything in my spirit. With A, I'm taking a flight through different galaxies, and I mean that literally. With B, I'm thinking of all this stupid shit that I know that shouldn't be the case, but because this fruit is so good in my head, I'm all the way there with you. But with C, D, and F, I'm just like, when is this over, man? It's April, just the month of April, and I'm about to tell her I'm about to go watch football or something. And it ain't no goddamn football in April, but I'm about to tell her I'm going to watch the game. This just needs to be over. Yeah, I might come, but it's my dick. I know how to make myself come. All I have to do is think of the right thing, and I'm going to come. If you are a C, D, or F, that man's climax is not the symbol of a great time. It just means that he's reached his destination. And that's all I got to say about D and F. I'm sad.
That is sad. I think it, like everything I said before still applies, if there is a health concern. And let's keep in mind that you may not always be aware that there are health concerns or just imbalances in women because it's not it is your business. I think that in the perfect world, sexual partners would have more intimate discussions about who they are, what their needs are, what's going on with them, so that before, during, and after sex, you're having the best experience because you're so close. You're not holding anything back. But the reality is that a lot of people are having sex and they're not very intimate with each other, so they're not willing to share that there are things that have affected their ability to be aroused. So again, we talked about this in the first season, but the truth is that a lot of women don't get aroused before and during sex, it's important to not just get aroused before, but also during. One of the things I shared with someone before is that one of the best sexual experiences will always be the very first one, because you've built up, anticipation, you are physically attracted, you have this chemistry, you imagine this and have fantasized about this great sexual experience. All these things have served as foreplay before you've even touched. And then that very first touch happens and that very first kiss happens, and all of that makes it just so damn good. So in typically speaking, a woman is physically aroused, she's open, her cervix has moved up, she's moist, she's wet, everything she's in a heightened sense of arousal and awareness as well, that will make that very first sexual experience out of this world. So even a C could be disguised as a B, because physically her body is just primed and ready because it's the very first time. So I always say that you can't go by the first time as much as the second, the third, and the fourth, because every time after, now we know each other. Now I know what you're capable of. I'm still aroused if I'm someone who gets aroused easily, and you are doing the things that make me aroused. I'm still aroused. I'm still excited about you because I like you. Hopefully you didn't do anything that turned me off, so I'm still going to be turned on, but it's not quite as much as that very first time, because I know you now. We've gotten that out of the way. And because of that, now my body is more inclined to be what it usually is, like its natural, normal state. And that is where you see what a person is. And I'm not just saying just a woman, but a man as well. You can see what he's capable of during that second and third run. So this is where a lot of men will get disappointed, because that very first time was great and wonderful, and then they come back for the second time and it's like, oh, okay, this isn't what it was like the first time. Again, if you find that your sexual experiences aren't yielding the very best experience for you, you are not pleased, you are not aroused, you're not happy, you're not satisfied, you're not able to achieve orgasms with whatever you are doing for yourself or whatever he is doing with you, then it's time to either have more open conversations with him or with yourself, and possibly with your doctor, about what you're not achieving during sex. Because I gotta be honest, like, what's the point of sex if it doesn't feel good? I want to know why women especially, I'm most concerned with women, but why are we having sex with men if we're unhappy with it? Why are we afterwards doing things to get off? Why are we playing with ourselves to come and then still giving him our time of day? Like, why are we having sex if we're not pleased? What's the purpose of it? And a lot of times I think it's because we know that's what he wants, so we're having sex, but we're left unhappy. And whether you are the culprit because you're physically incapable of getting wet or not, really doesn't matter. The point is, take yourself out of the game. If it's not pleasing to you, stop. Just stop fucking and not being pleased. Stop giving him pussy and not being pleased. Forget what it is that he's not getting. Forget how unhappy he is with it. You aren't happy. You should be pleased with sex. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be good. And that leads me to really what I got to say about sex grades.
Okay.
So I don't believe that we women have multiple grades of dick. It's just a man either has good dick or bad dick. He just either does. And, good dick is dick that pleases us, either because it knows how to make us come, which isn't always the case. I don't want to say it's rare, because I've had excellent sexual experiences. I know I've said that on this show, and I'm not trying to pump up any of my past partners or my husband. The truth is, I've not had bad sexual experiences. I mean, the worst one still would have been better than a lot of what I'm hearing women talk about. So I've had really good sexual experiences. But what I'm saying is, when you talk to the majority of people, they'll tell you that a lot of dick doesn't know how to make a woman come. So I would say good dick either knows how to make you come or just knows how to make you feel good the entire time. It's hitting all the spots. It has stamina, endurance. It's just capable of going the extra mile. And good dick isn't always big dick. Some good dick is smaller. I've heard women say he just knows how to work what he has. I've never heard that said about a pistol dick.
That's all that really matters, just knowing how to work with what you have.
Right. So, I've never heard that about a very tiny one, but the point is it needs to have some substance to it, but if it has that and he has the moves, then that's considered good dick. And so there's either good dick capable of making me come or capable of making me feel good the entire time, and then there's bad dick, which is the opposite of all of that. But what we do have that I would say is like designations or grades outside of good or bad dick, and that may be one, for some women, his financial stability might make up for not having good capabilities in bed. So that may make him better than he really is because he's financially stable. Another may be that he's extremely good looking. He's just fine. He's model-like, there's no question. This man looks good. But typically speaking, that's only going to last for so long. It has to be combined with some other attribute, namely he's financially stable. And that may make a woman not care so much as to whether he has good dick or bad dick. And then the third one, and this, I will tell you, there are women who will marry a man that does not have good dick but has this third one. He can eat the punani. Okay? So if he can do that, if he can make your toes curl and you come over and over and over again with his mouth or his fingers, basically he has the foreplay game down.
Well, that's a special move. That's a special move.
If those special moves, are on point, then she may be willing to marry you and forget that you do not have good dick. Now, I still go back to my previous argument of when we were talking about a pussy and why some women are married. You wonder why they got a husband and you don't have a husband, and it's because they got A's. A's heal the world, and so does really good dick. So my thing is, you may have a man who can eat. He can work his hands and fingers. He's just on some nasty stuff, and he can do it. But I guarantee you, one day you are just going to want to get fucked.
That's right. She always gonna want. Well, I'm not gonna say always, but there's gonna come a time when she needs that good dick in her life.
Yes, and this guy is just not going to be able to do it, no matter how many times he licks his sucks or whatever. So, you're going to be dissatisfied in the long haul, and therefore it will be one of the women we talked about that have the extra man, has to have an extra man because she's not satisfied all the way. So, the name of the game is finding and being, not finding, but being with someone who has good, great. When you were talking about going to the stars, going to the galaxy, I mean, that's like a level of good dick, but that's like the best level of good dick, where he takes you out of this world. Like, you see black, like you fade to black every time you come. And when you're done, you're like sucking your thumb, you're like pulling away, like you don't know what to do. Your legs are shaking for like 10 minutes. You don't even know who you are for a little bit. You might have to try to figure out who the hell you are and what the hell you were doing in that room with him. And then you're like, okay, you want to have his babies. Like and a lot of women are like that with men that aren't giving them a galaxy. So, I would say don't rely upon that meter. I'm just saying, though, with the very best of dicks, like you're willing to lay it all on the line with this man, and you will. But my thing is, and this is my advice for you women, if you get that galaxy dick, make sure he has the other qualities that we've talked about. He's a good provider, and not just with money, but just overall in his spirit. He's giving you the things that you need for your spirit, that he's a good listener, that he's talking to you, that he's making you feel like a woman, because you don't want to be like giving up everything for some man that all he knows how to do is dick you down, because that's not life. It's like not going to solve every last problem. Not every last problem. You don't want to be like things falling apart in your day-to-day, but then like, okay, let's go to the room and let's fix this right here. No, that's not going to fix all of it, but it's going to fix the way you feel. Right.
That ain't going to do it.
So that's that's what I got.
And that's all I got too. That's all I have. This was a very important conversation to have. I found it very fascinating when I was reading the research on this, and I felt like I had to share it with the podcast.
Well, thanks for sharing with the podcast, with our listeners. And I want to thank you all for listening in to The Universe is Talking. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with us on this journey. We want to hear from you, though. Let us know what your thoughts are, not only on this topic, but about the topics that you'd like to hear from us. And in the meantime, be sure to like, follow, and share. Until next time, love on each other.